Today's episode breaks open one of the most consequential 24 hours in American politics. The Supreme Court giving Texas permission to racially gerrymander its way into 5 new Republican seats, another deadly Pentagon boat strike killing 4 more men on the open water, newly filed impeachment articles against Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, ICE using a dying man's medical condition as leverage, USCIS slashing immigrant work permits, the DOJ being forced to release Epstein grand jury records, FIFA awarding Donald Trump a Peace Prize, explosive evidence of political favoritism in congressional swearing-ins, and Kristi Noem announcing a sweeping travel ban affecting more than 30 countries. This is the full breakdown, clear, direct, and unredacted. The day began with the Supreme Court handing Donald Trump exactly the advantage he's been engineering, permission for Texas to redraw its congressional map in a way that even a Trump-appointed federal judge said was racially discriminatory. The unsigned 6-3 ruling overturned a lower court that found Texas intentionally sorted voters by race to lock in up to 5 new Republican seats. Justice Kagan's dissent was blistering. She warned that the court was blessing a map designed to diminish the power of Black and Latino voters, and she wrote plainly that the majority's move violated the Constitution. Even more revealing is how openly Republican officials admitted what they were doing. Ken Paxton called the ruling a victory for keeping Republicans in power. Pam Bondi said states have every right to draw maps based on partisan advantage, and the message from Texas was unmistakable. The objective is not representation, it is permanent domination. The court didn't even defend democracy today. It signed off on its manipulation, and while the country was still processing that, another crisis unfolded on the other side of the world. The Pentagon released footage of its 22nd boat strike since September, this time killing 4 men in the Pacific. No arrests, no warning, just a missile obliterating a small vessel in international waters. The administration continues to classify suspected drug traffickers as terrorists to justify these strikes, even though legal scholars repeatedly warn that redefining someone does not make killings lawful. What makes this even more disturbing is the timing. Lawmakers had just viewed the classified September 2nd video, the one showing injured survivors clinging to wreckage before being killed in a second blast. Members of Congress, including those who rarely criticize the military, called the footage deeply troubling and said the public deserves to see it. Pete Hegseth denies ever issuing a kill everyone order, but the pattern keeps building. People unable to fight, unable to flee, being killed anyway, and the Pentagon showcasing the footage online as if it's a demonstration, not a life and death decision carried out by America's name. And for the first time, someone in Congress is putting real consequences on the table. Representative Shri Vanadar has officially filed articles of impeachment against Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, one for murder and one for conspiracy to murder tied to the boat strikes, and another for leaking classified information by planning an airstrike inside uncensored signal chat. These filings came after lawmakers saw the classified footage and walked out shaken. One called it the most troubling video he has ever seen in public service. Meanwhile, the Pentagon Inspector General has already confirmed that Hegseth mishandled operational intelligence and refused to provide investigators his phone. The impeachment filings don't guarantee removal, but they mark the first formal legal response to a growing body of evidence that the strikes may not have been lawful, and that a cabinet official may have crossed lines with national security implications far beyond politics. And while Congress is wrestling with that, ICE is producing its own series of humanitarian crises here at home. In Charlotte, a 27-year-old man with end-stage kidney failure, someone who cannot survive without regular dialysis, was detained on his way to life-saving treatment. Agents transported him 360 miles away, withheld medical care for hours, and according to him, told him he would die in custody unless he signed a deportation order. Only after he signed did ICE allow him a shortened dialysis session. DHS labeled him a criminal illegal alien, but reporters found only a minor marijuana possession charge from a hospital visit. Doctors warn that missing even one dialysis treatment can kill a patient. ICE knew that. They used it anyway. This wasn't enforcement. It was coercion, using a man's organs as leverage, and it raises a chilling question. If the government is willing to do this to someone in medical crisis, where exactly is the line? The administration is now expanding that posture across the entire immigration system. USCIS has announced it is slashing work permits from 5 years to 18 months, Advocates warn this will push hundreds of thousands of workers out of the workforce and overwhelm an already backlogged system. Officials claim the move enhances security. In reality, it forces immigrants, including long-term residents and asylum seekers, to reapply for permission to work nearly every year, with processing times that already stretch far beyond that. This is part of a larger pattern: frozen asylum cases, paused green cards, and mass re-reviews of Biden-era approvals. This policy isn't designed to improve safety. It's designed to destabilize the lives of people who already live here legally and to make the ability to work feel temporary, fragile, and revocable at any moment. As this crackdown intensifies, a different kind of transparency battle is escalating in federal court. The DOJ is now legally compelled to release the Epstein grand jury transcripts after Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a law that requires disclosure of decades of records spanning multiple administrations. The statute forces the release of immunity deals, internal DOJ communications, and evidence that has never been publicly available. Ghislaine Maxwell has pleaded with the judge to stop the release, claiming it will hurt her appeals. The judge was unmoved. For the first time, the government's handling of Epstein, from federal prosecutors to intelligence-linked associates, will be exposed in a way DOJ can no longer control, and people in positions of immense power are preparing for what comes next. Meanwhile, global institutions are making moves that reflect a very different set of priorities. FIFA has awarded Donald Trump a Peace Prize, a move that stunned political observers and human rights advocates. The organization, already tied in corruption scandals, presented the award while the Trump administration faces accusations of unlawful killings at sea. FIFA said the prize honors leaders who unite the world. Critics argue it signals how deeply political influence now shapes international institutions and how dramatically global norms are shifting. Back home, domestic norms are shifting too. House Speaker Mike Johnson fast-tracked the swearing-in of Republican Matt Van Epps within 48 hours of his special election victory, while Democrat Adelita Grijalva, who won her seat at the same time, was forced to wait nearly 7 weeks before being sworn in. Her delay blocked her from voting to release the Epstein files, a vote she publicly supported. She had no office access, no government email, no ability to perform constituent services, yet Johnson told the public she should be doing her job. That wasn't procedural confusion. It was targeted political obstruction, rewarding allies while sidelining opponents, even if it means denying voters their representation. And finally, the administration has moved to dramatically reshape who is allowed to enter the United States at all. Kristi Noem has announced the expansion of the federal travel ban to more than 30 countries without releasing the list publicly. Her justification was that U.S. should not allow people from nations deemed unstable. This follows Trump's promise to pause migration from all third world countries, and DHS's review of Afghan asylum cases following a single high-profile crime. The new ban represents one of the broadest exclusions of foreign nationals in modern history. It affects students, workers, families, refugees, and people fleeing war or persecution. The scope is massive, and the criteria are undefined. It is not a targeted national security policy, it is a collective punishment on a global scale, and it signals a fundamental shift in how America defines who is welcomed and who is rejected. That's today's full breakdown. If you want clear, fast, unfiltered analysis every day, make sure you're following to stay in the know.